Hi there, it's Polly here with Mr. Snoots. Yes, I'm in six-pack ab mode because I sodding can. I did a review just a couple of weeks ago of Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Advanced Fighting Fantasy is based on the Fighting Fantasy books, which were a big part of many people's first role-playing experience, first adventure game experience. Not for me, I was way too old for that, but for many people this has a huge nostalgia value. Now, I was also introduced to the science fiction version of these, Stellar Adventures. I want to do a separate review of these because it is a separate set of rules and it has its own merits. And I do love science fiction role-playing, and hopefully some of my sci-fi oriented audience here will actually take a close look at these. So these are the Steve Jackson, Ian Livingstone Fighting Fantasy sort of books that inspired these. Stellar Adventures. Now this is the version from Drive-Thru. You can also get it from the main publisher's website, but it comes with a lot of really cool additional bits and pieces. I've gotten the weapons and armor catalog, and I've also gotten the starship catalog, and they also do some a basic adventure campaign, which I've got over there, and it's a good one. So how does this work? It's a very simple, robust game system, and I'll keep coming back to this. What I've found is when you've got a good, simple game, you just engage with the game world and the adventures. You're playing the game, you're not gaming the system. So many current games have either thought that more is better as far as rules complexity goes, or that the key to gaming is having ever-escalating powers that allow you to just dominate and smash and kill and mutilate and more killing and more mutilation. It's always combat-oriented. The two things that does is it funnels our game entirely into violence, which is where we started from, and then we moved into characters and story and found that this gives you a much better game, but people keep trying to steer it back to just being murder hobos. Don't. But this simpler game system actually means that you really do engage in playing the game. It's got everything that you need, and it's got all the nuance you need, but you're not going to spend your time combing through looking for tiny little rules nickels that'll give you a bonus. So, how this works. You've got some pretty basic characteristics. We're not interested in your charisma, your dexterity, all these different things. What you've got is a character starts out with set ratings in, what have we got? Skill. Now, skill is a general characteristic that's used for any skill, be it piloting starships to brain surgery to firing a weapon. This is what you're going to be testing against for any of those sorts of tests. You have stamina. Stamina is how tough you are, how strong you are, how much damage you take, how fit you are. Important largely for tracking damage and for getting bonuses on anything that requires, full force or melee. Luck is a very important one. Luck is used for testing your luck. Do you manage to do a dive and roll and avoid the grenade? Do you manage to avoid the trap? Do you get to the airlock or to the ejection pod before the starship blows up? These are tests against your luck. There is also psionics in this game, and it's very well done. Not everyone is psionic. However, if you choose to be a psionic character, you will be rated for your psionics, which is how much psionic power you have available to use. You can also be an android or robot character, be that a fully humanoid, Mr. Data style android, or God help us, one of the ones from Aliens, or, a lovable droid or a sinister assassin bot for that matter. If you are that, you have another characteristic called tech. That's used to track inbuilt systems and so on for you. So it's pretty damn simple as far as characteristics go. What gives you the actual sharper definition on your character comes off essentially traits that you can attach to your character. So everyone gets a special trait to start off with, and that could be that you're a lightning fast drawer. It could mean that you're a bit of a rogue and have lots of contacts. Could be that you're silver-tongued and can persuade your way out of things. It could be that you're a wheeler and a dealer. It could be that you're a sexy Lothario. Could be that you're very high status and that people naturally defer to you if they buy into that stuff. It could be that you're a martial artist. Yeah, you can be a mutant, in which case you get kind of strange mutations on a mutant table. You could have a charmed life, which gets you an ability to sort of get out of some situations, etc. Everyone gets one of these. Now, when you make a character, you've got set values in your luck, your skill, and your stamina. You get some points to split up. You can only put a certain amount of points into each value. Each point that goes into stamina will get you 2 points of stamina. You can also take that points pool and you can use it to purchase psionics if you are going to be a psionic player. So in other words, if you're taking psionics, you're losing points that you could throw into being like highly skilled or very butch or just preternaturally lucky. So, you make your choices. The basic skill test in this thing is you roll 2d6. And you've got to get skill number or less. They do have an option, if you wish, to invert it. So what you can do is roll 2d6 and add your skill and roll against a difficulty number. You have that option because in combat, rolling high can be the way you go in combat. So having a skill test system that was different from combat, people don't like it. So you can use the difficulty class system should you wish. However, at its core, roll 2d6. For a skill test, you've got to get your skill or less. Now, everyone gets skill bonuses for certain things, or rather they have a skills list that they choose from. You start off, you can pick 3 at level 2 and 6 at level 1, I think. These are essentially adds to your skill under set circumstances. So for instance, I could take the 2 skill in firing a pistol. That means that if I've got like a 7 skill rating, I'll add 2 to that if I'm specifically using a pistol, because that's my thing. So instead of rolling a 7 or less, I'll need a 9 or less. Or piloting space fighters, or so many different things that I could put that into. Navigation, engineering, fixing things, jury rigging stuff. It's all in there. Quite an extensive skill list. Melee and all these sorts of things, all these different things I can choose from. Dodging is a skill that's quite useful. Armor is a skill that you can put in. It gives you a bonus. You get sort of slightly better rolls from your armor because you're more trained in how to use it. I'm not sure that's a thing, but what the hell. Awareness and brawling and evaluation and using heavy weapons and all sorts of stuff. Medicine and leadership and law and languages, etc. So it's all in there. Some things you can only use if you've got a specific skill in them. So not everyone can do like space navigation. Unless you've specifically bought a skill level in it, it's a mystery to you. Brain surgery? Nuh-uh. Not unless I've got medic. That sort of thing. So, pretty simple to do a character. There are some fairly extensive rules in here for how to adapt any alien creature and make it a character, but they tend to wave their hands a little bit and say, just have a think. What you can do is trade off stuff. They've got a little simple system here where they say, I want an alien. All right, what do you got? Well, you can design a system where he gets certain bonuses and changes that are positive, and for each bonus or change that's positive, you can either essentially get less starting skills, or you get a negative thing. So my guy can see in the dark, all right, but he's sensitive to bright light. Oh, okay, well, they balance out. Yeah, he's nocturnal. So if it's glaring light or something, it's a negative to spot and shoot and awareness rolls and that sort of thing. Perfectly fair. You can design an alien pretty simply under these rules and make a thing that's your own. Great. So these rules, when you do a luck test, luck's a finite resource. So whenever you do a luck test, at the end of the luck test, your luck goes down by 1. So it's a resource that you burn over the course of an adventure. The more you push and rely on your luck, the harder it's going to be to make those luck tests. So you've got to use it carefully. You only get it back either at the end of the adventure or if there's like a definite kind of stop point in the adventure. But generally it's for the course of an adventure. You can also use luck points to do things like turn someone's damage rolls against you to a minimum roll. You make them roll a 1. You can make someone re-roll any dice. So if someone hits you, you could tell them to re-roll it. Or you can also use it to re-roll your own dice. I'm trying to persuade this guy to, maybe not take my friends off to jail. That we're really just, we're not trying to break into this place. No, we're spelunkers. That's why we're in this tunnel system. You can re-roll, but you burn your luck dice to do it. So, resource management, important. Stamina does come back as you take rests and eat and drink and so on, but you have to actually spend a lot of time to heal. There are tons of weapons in here. Now, you roll against skill to hit. Now they've got a combat system here where essentially what you do is if you are rolling against people, you rolling 2 dice and adding your skill, and pretty much whoever's got the highest roll wins. That's an alternative system that is in there. Which do you want to use? But effectively, roll. There's no initiative system. Everyone's rolling, and whoever gets the highest one gets the whoever gets the highest successful result is the winner. So if you're both drawing your pistols or you're blazing away at someone, one of you is going to hit. Both of you are going to hit, but one person's got the higher score, so there's the one that counts. So you can both blaze away, but you get that stormtrooper. All right, fair enough. Once you hit, you are rolling for damage. Weapons don't use a straight dice as damage. Every weapon has its own little chart that you have to make on your character sheet. There's a dice roll that you roll on a d6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and each one will give you a different damage value that you're giving. 6s are high end, 1s are low end. So, like a stabbing someone with a knife, it might be, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3. That might be the damage you do. Shooting him with the atomic blaster might be like 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6 points. It's got a way higher average damage, and So, armor likewise has a little chart that you roll on, and that gives you the damage that's subtracted from the incoming damage. Anything that's left over goes onto your stamina. Pretty simple. Dodge, you can dodge out of the way of things. That is also a roll that you make, and the higher your skill, the more damage you'll subtract from the incoming attack. Psionics, they have psionic powers in this. Now, if you played like the Star Wars role-playing game, there is, of course, the option to be a force-wielding character, but that can often change the game to an extent that a lot of it becomes about the force-wielding people, because now they've got a ton of powers. They can detect other force guys, and they can do kind of world-changing stuff. So everyone else can become supporting cast for the cool guys that this story is really about, the space witches. This keeps it very real. Psionics are helpful, but they are not absolutely game-changing. These aren't a super race of warlock warriors. They have stuff that they can do that is useful. There are different schools that you can take. Each of these has 8 powers in it that you learn, and they do pretty specific things. So there's like a body focus one that actually sort of improves your body. So you can accelerate your own healing. You can maybe move a bit faster. You can heighten. You can hold your breath. You can go into hibernation. That sort of cool guru stuff. There's others that are sensing thoughts. There's others that's being in touch with the natural world and animals. But there's nothing there where you know, I just automatically make everyone's heads explode. There's a couple of distant choky kind of ones, but again, not game changers, and it costs you points to use it. But they're all useful things to have, and so having a psionic character is a thing that you can choose, but it doesn't mean that the people who didn't choose to be psionic aren't in the game. Face it, they're tougher than you, they've probably got way more skills than you, and they're probably way luckier than you. So on an adventuring kind of way, these guys might be really the ones that are carrying the whole story. But it does give you a ton of really neat things. There's also a wild psionic thing where you can only get 1 or 2 powers, and they can be a bit more potent and nasty, but you only get like 1 or 2 of these things. You may choose when you're doing powers, you can choose to step it up, and you can choose to kind of do damage with a lot of these things. But if you do, you are choosing to use them in an evil way, and you have to roll against luck. And if you fail that, then basically you must use this power now to basically cause as much damage and collateral damage as possible. You're going to use this in the most evil possible way, and essentially start keeping little ticks, and it becomes harder and harder for you to resist always using your power for evil. So if you've got damaging powers, you know, powers that actually hurt people, you can actually go down a express elevator to hell pretty damn quickly. And I like that. So the Psionics is more about utility than harm. And if you choose the route of harm, you might end up a very bad person, and the rest of the party's going to end up hunting you down. The supplemental material for weapons is it's done like a catalogue, and it's full of cool weapons. There are different tech levels in this, so it's set up for different tech levels. They're fairly simple tech levels. Are we doing like high space, low space, medium space, you know, but it's full of assault rifles and projectile weapons and plasma cannon and stealth suits and jetpacks and data pads and deluxe uniforms and cool suits for planetary mystics to wear and wraith suits and all that cool stuff. With little sales spills by salesmen in there who may be telling you a complete line of crap. I love it. Likewise, Starship Catalogue has got tons and tons and tons of vessels, which have all been designed out. Strengths, weaknesses and quirks and so on in them. Wait, did I just see that? I think I just saw the Galaxy Quest ship in here. Anyway, oh, there it is. Anyway, yes, so, and that's what makes this game different to Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Vehicles and vehicle combat. So the rules have a very simple vehicle combat system, because obviously you're going to want to be driving hover bikes and skimmer vehicles. You know, vehicles are very much a part of science fiction. So essentially vehicles are characters written large. They have their own structure value, which is essentially stamina. They have their own ratings for any bonuses they give for firing the weapons on them. They can have equipment, sensors, and so on. And they have their own weapons which operate, you know, at range. So they're tracked as a very simple character in themselves. Obviously, your skills are going to be the ones operating the weapons and so on. But they've got rules in here for doing like chases and evasions and fighting between vehicles. So yes, you can chase someone through the forest on your jet scooters, etc. Space combat is a outgrowth of that system. The game has a whole system for designing ships. You pick different sort of hull types and sizes, and you can use these as slots to put, you know, equipment and so on into the ship. So quite a simple ship design system, and they have prices and so on attached. And of course you've got the usual thing where you can try and find loans or, you know, purchase ships. Often they're out of everyone's actual price range, but, you know, ships are a big factor in most science fiction games. So they've got crew requirements, and they have a combat system where you do have armor and shields, which are crossed off as you take damage, and how the characters are involved, what they're doing. So characters can be firing the weapons, flying the ship, dodging and evading incoming fire, repairing, and so on. And the rest of us stand by to repel boarders or fix the damage, guys. It keeps it simple, but it gives you everything you need. And what's important is it tells you where everyone is and what they're doing. So again, this is entirely used the KISS system. Keep it simple, stupid. We're just giving people the information they need to make the game run, and game run well, and enough quirks and tags attached to people so there's a feel for what they are. This is a wheezing old ship that breaks easily, but she's fast. This thing's a monster. It's armored like a behemoth. It's as ugly as hell, but it'll just take any damage you throw at it. It's an old, it's an old armored recovery tug from the battle. We found it, on a trash heap, and we've refurbished her. Simon over there has to keep banging on the engines with a wrench to make them work, but she's a beauty. We wouldn't lose her. This is what we are creating in this game. It doesn't really have a specific setting with it. I have a campaign that they made for the game here, which sort of does introduce you to some alien species and a bit of a world for it, but essentially put your own world in there. It will suit whatever you feel like doing. So if you want to run an alien style thing where you're using pulse rifles and physical armor and you want that grungy feel, that equipment book and everything gives you the equipment to do that. If you want something more Star Warsy, that's pew pew guns and space fighters, you can do that. Those are in there. If you want something that's more Star Trekky, high and noble and phaser pistols and hand scanners and whatever, that's in there as well. So what you want to turn the game into is what it will be. Now, one of the things that I've found with this system is because that system is really very simple, there aren't a lot of ridiculous loopholes that you can go for, and there aren't powers that stack on each other. So you haven't got this power spiral problem you have with so many games. People keep picking up superpowers left, right, and center. It's just skills and maybe some cool extra quirks that you pick up. So as you go on, and this guy's going to, I've been in too many bar fights now, I'm going to take martial artist, I'm going to take quick draw, those sorts of things. But that's all. So you're playing the game, not gaming the system. So I find that these simpler systems, there's two ways they can go. It can lead to a trap where it's just a series of combats. That was where role-playing games started, and that's where this started. Obviously, there was a lot of fighting and so on in these original book games because it was for kids. But as we developed as people and as role-playing gamers and learned that story and character and so on are great and engaging, and exploring worlds and having fun is more important than killing imaginary things, I find these simple systems lend themselves beautifully to that sort of play, because you're not focused on trying to get all these ridiculous combat advantages and finding these escalating powers. You're kind of fairly happy being your character. You've got your strengths, you've got your weaknesses, you've got the things to do. So you engage with the world so that you are actually playing a role-playing game at its best. You are having a good time. And that's why I like these rules. They're good time rules. Look, I love Traveller, and it can be fun, but it can be a bit heavy and slow moving at times. I find this game keeps an edge of kind of fun and frolic to it. It's very, very simple. It's got a little bit more of a hokey edge to it. Say Traveller is very straight-laced. This has, a bit more kind of laissez-faire sort of Star Warsy inspiration that you can work into it, or grim stuff if you want the alien sort of edge. But it's a good game, and I think its simplicity is its strength. Couple of little minor things. I noticed that because they ported some stuff over from Advanced Fighting Fantasy, they didn't check. So they've got a couple of traits for your characters there where it says, this gives you a bonus to this series of skills. and they're not skills that are in the science fiction game. They're skills from the fantasy game. So it's like, all right. So, you know, it did need a bit of an editorial pass-through that it never got. Shame there. But doesn't matter. We'll walk past it. It's well supported. As I said, it's got a ton of cool little, you know, equipment books and so on with it. I'm pretty happy with this one. I think it's a good game. Like I said, simple as, but lots of material that allows you to let the equipment hounds comb through and try and find that really cool stealth suit or whatever, and then find out that it really doesn't matter because we're playing a Babylon 5-y sort of thing, and what's really important here is political machinations and trying to figure where the ambassador has disappeared to. You know? Anyway, Snoots approves of it, and this guy does too, but, you know, that's because there's something wrong with him. Right. I will see you guys around the games table sometime, I hope. May we meet at a convention? Oh, what the hell. May we meet at a club sometime. Look after yourselves, be the best possible ambassadors for gaming you can, and remember, we're all here to have fun. Cheers, everybody. He wants to push the button. All right, push the button, Max. Hang on. Push the button, Max.